What's up, guys? Hope you're doing good today. Today we're moving on to lesson 5.9, which is the second special right triangle that we're going to be dealing with, which is called a 30, 60, 90 right triangle. Just like the 45, 45, 90, there's a special relationship that we're going to be dealing with this right triangle, and it's going to help us to solve missing sides of my right triangle. So let's jump into it. All right, so the first thing we're going to look at is specifically what I mean by 30, 60, 90. So just like the 45, 45, 90, I'm talking about the angles. I have a 30 degree, I have a 60 degree, and I have a 90 degree angle that create a right triangle. So whenever this happens, it creates a special relationship. So it says here, a 30, 60, 90 triangle is a special right triangle that allows, that always has side length values which are always in a consistent relationship with one another. And so right now we're going to actually label this triangle with what's written here. So whenever you have a 30, 60, 90, it says the side opposite the 30 degree angle is always going to be represented as X. So right now what I'm going to do on my notes here is the side opposite of the 30 degree angle here is always going to be represented as X. Okay? The side opposite of the 60 degree angle is always going to be X square root 3. So if I go to the 60 degree angle, let me use a different color here. If I go to the 60, the side opposite of that is always going to be X square root 3. Now the side opposite of the 90 degree angle, which is going to be my hypotenuse on a 30, 60, 90 right triangle, is I'm going to do 2 times X. So again, the side opposite of my 90 degree angle, I'm going to do 2 times X. So just like the 45, 45, 90, I'm going to take this template right here and I'm going to apply it to some examples to find missing sides of my triangle by transferring back and forth between sides. Okay, so let's jump over to example number 1. I'll show you how it works. All right, so on example number 1 here, it says we need to find the value of D and E. So we're finding both of these. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to actually draw my 30, 60, 90 right triangle over here, and I'm going to basically make the template here so we can see what's going on here. So if you have a right triangle here, this is your 30 degree, this is your 60 degree, this is your 90 degree. Remember, opposite the 30 is always going to be X. Opposite the 60 is always going to be X square root 3. Opposite the 90 is always going to be 2X. So right now, let's go ahead and look at what has been given to me. So right now, remember, opposite of my 30 degree is always going to be represented as X. So that means X right now is just going to be 2 because those are in the same spot. So now opposite my 60 degree angle is always going to be the X times the square root of 3. So literally to find what this side is going to be, all I have to do is take X, which is 2, and multiply it by the square root of 3. So that means D is just going to be 2 square root 3. That's all I have to do. Okay? Now lastly on E, the side opposite of my 90 degree angle, opposite the 90 is going to be 2 times X. So right now, X is 2. So that means all I have to do is multiply 2 times X, which 2 times 2 is going to give me 4. So that means my hypotenuse is going to be 4. So ladies and gentlemen, this is how you take that special right triangle 30, 60, 90 and you apply it to a simple example here to find out what your missing sides are going to be just by knowing what one side is. Okay? So let's jump over to example number 2. All right, so on example number 2, it says, what is F and G? So the first thing you need to recognize is this is a 30, 60, 90 right triangle. So what that means is I can actually find my missing sides by using that special right triangle. So I'm drawing my template in the same kind of orientation as this one right here. So I'm going to make this my 30 degree. I'm going to make this my 60 degree. So again, opposite my 30 is always represented as X. Opposite the 60 degree angle is always going to be that X side times the square root of 3. Then opposite my 90 degree angle is I'm going to multiply that X side by 2. So let's go ahead and take that and apply it to my example here. So right now it looks like I am given my 60 degree side, which is going to be the side opposite the 60. So opposite of that is always represented as X square root 3. Okay? So with that being said, opposite the 30 degree side is going to be my X side. So what that means is if I'm going from my X side to my long side here, I'm going to multiply by the square root of 3 there, correct? So if I'm going to work backwards here, I'm actually going to divide by the square root of 3. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually take this measurement here. So F is going to equal 4 divided by the square root of 3. Because I multiplied to get here, I have to divide to go back, correct? So when I divide by the square root of 3, this is technically my answer because I can't do that. But what I can do is I have to put it in simplest radical form. So I have to get rid of that square root sign. So I'm going to multiply by square root of 3 over square root of 3. So basically what's going to happen, this is going to be 3 times 3, which is 9, which the square root of 9 is 3. So 4 times square root of 3. So this is going to turn out to be 4 square root of 3 over 3. So that means F is going to be 4 square root 3 over 3. Boom, done. Okay? So now if we look here, this is technically my x value right now. So now to go from here to my long side, I have to take the x and multiply by 2. So G is going to be what F is, which is 4 square root 3 over 3. And I'm going to end up multiplying that by 2, which is 2 over 1. So right now, 4 times 2 is going to give you 8 square root 3 over 3. So ladies and gentlemen, your final answer on G here is going to be 8 square root 3 over 3. It may seem a little weird, but just like on the 45, 45, 90 aspect, I can type this into the calculator and get an exact decimal if that's what it's wanting. But again, if you leave something in radical form, it's going to be a more exact answer than a decimal. Okay? So let's skip over to example number 3. All right, so looking at example number 3. So it says, what is the value of x and y here? So right now, again, we're looking at our right triangle. I have a 30, 60, 90 right triangle. So that means I can actually use the template of the 30, 60, 90 right triangle to find my missing sides. So again, to make it a little easier, I'm gonna write my triangle in the same orientation as this one so I can see what's going on. So this is my 30, this is my 60. So just like my definition, opposite the 30 is gonna be x. Opposite the 60 is going to be x square root 3. Opposite the 90 is always going to be 2x. So right now if I look, my 90-degree angle opposite of that is the side that's given. So my hypotenuse is given. So that means I took the short side, multiplied by 2 to get here. So that means to go backwards, I have to divide by 2. So that means if I'm going to find y, which is going to be my x side, all I have to do is 6 divided by 2. Which is in return going to give me 3. So that means y is going to be 3. So now if I want to go from my x side to my x square root 3 side, all I have to do is multiply by the square root of 3. So that means x is going to be my x value, or my x side, which is 3. And then I'm going to multiply by the square root of 3. So your final answer up here is going to be 3 square root 3. Again, if I wanted to type that in the calculator and get a decimal, I could. But basically what I did was I used this template, got one side, and worked my way all the way around to find my other 2 sides. Okay? Now let's look at example number 4. All right, lastly on example number 4, it says that we need to find u and v. So right now it looks like I have an isosceles triangle, and each one of these angles are going to be 60 degrees. So I took this, and I'm drawing an altitude there, which is actually going to divide this angle into 2 parts. So this is going to be 30 degrees. This is going to be 30 degrees. So again, if I have a 30, 60, 90 right triangle, if this is 30 and this is 60, opposite the 30 is x, opposite the 60 is x square root 3, then my hypotenuse is going to be 2 times x. So right now this altitude is actually cutting this segment into 2 equal parts. So that means if this is 12, this side is 6, and this side is going to be 6. So again, opposite the 30 is going to be 6. So right now, opposite the 60 is going to be x square root 3. So I'm just going to take 6 and multiply by the square root of 3. So u is going to equal 6 times the square root of 3. Again, if I wanted to type that in the calculator to get a decimal, I could. Then lastly, opposite my 90-degree angle is going to be 2 times x. So again, x is going to be 6 here. So all I have to do to find v is multiply 6 times 2. So v is going to be 6 times 2, which 6 times 2 is going to be 12. So v is going to equal 12. So ladies and gentlemen, this is an example of how I can take that 30, 60, 90, apply it to an actual example here, and work out to find my other missing sides, okay? So again, guys, if you have any questions, please feel free to ask, and good luck on your skill check.